Hello everyone and welcome back to Driver Career for the Japanese Grand Prix in season 2022. Heading into this round, we are coming off the back of a good time in Singapore. We had a very lovely race there, but what has me concerned is every time we have a good race, every race that follows always turns out to be a crash back down to reality with a mechanical failure or something of the sort. So yeah, I don't know how this is going to go, but hopefully we can have a good time here at the Japanese Grand Prix. Obviously with the Honda power units, it is the engine supplier's home Grand Prix, so hopefully we can have a good time for them. But anyway, let's see how this all plays out. We're doing the drift challenge for the Pirelli Hot Lap challenge, and for some reason this one came much easier than some of the previous ones that I've really struggled with. As you can see, I'm not drifting particularly fantastic, but I don't know if it's the car or the circuit, but something about this one was much more enjoyable than some of the previous ones. But anyway, in terms of the championship though, it's a big day because Max Verstappen could win the championship. Currently, the Dutchman has a 96-point lead over Sergio Perez, and after this round there will be 104 points left to score in the championship. So by that math, if Verstappen outscores Perez by 9 points or more, he will win the championship today. But that is well, quite a ways away for the time being, so we're not going to worry too much about that. We finish off the Pirelli Hot Lap challenge, and yeah, we get the gold there, so all good news on that side of things, and we can get into the bulk of the race weekend. We actually smashed the target by quite a large percentage there, so that was very good for us. And yeah, now we grab our resource points after practice. We've got almost 2,500 to spend, and of course all the discounts coming in as well. Upgrades have not come in as quickly as I would have liked this season. We've barely made a dent, to be fair, between where we were at the start of the season and where we are now. The whole field as a whole has definitely closed up compared to where everyone was at the start of the season, so the gap from first to last has definitely shrunk. But in terms of where we are relative to the field, we haven't really improved. I was kind of hoping we could be, mixing it up for podiums, on pace, rather than having to, hope for, a freakishly good qualifying or grid penalties to get us into that position. But it is what it is, and we just have to do the best we can with what we have. Practice was all dry,
okay,
but
the tech regulations are changing. There's a risk some of our hard work will be undone, so we need to mitigate it. As soon as you can, I want you to look at the developments we have and tell us what areas you want to invest in protecting.
Oh, interesting. R&D reset for next season. Fernando Alonso is also retiring in the last email there, but we're not going to pay any attention to that. Both of those are completely irrelevant to this series, as we will not be doing another season in F1 22. So we're just going to ignore all of that information. Let's focus on R&D and what areas of the car we can invest in to get the most benefit between now and the end of the season. We're going to do the Stators upgrade, and that is a major ERS upgrade. It'll be on the car if we rush it in time for the US Grand Prix, but if we don't, we still won't have it at the Mexican Grand Prix, and it'll finally come in for Brazil. So we are going to rush it, because if it does come onto the car, we will have twice as many races with that upgrade. It's that close to the end of the season. We got to go for it. Look at the R&D chart. Alpine, huge leap forward into this round, and they're right up with McLaren, who are starting to mix it up with the big boys. So we're getting left behind, and we're still only the 6th best team, so R&D really not working in our favour late on in the season. Thankfully the championship standings are, so we do have that little bit of a buffer over McLaren, but with Alpine in between us now, well and truly, it could very easily swing back the other way. But anyway, there's plenty to talk about, both at the top end of town and in the midfield this round. Can Verstappen wrap up the championship? He'll pretty much need to win, and hope Sergio Perez is third, or if Perez does get the fastest lap, he'll need to be off the podium.
Okay, I hope you're sitting comfortably in there, mate. We've got a sensor issue, and we're going to be stuck in here for a while as we try and fix it.
For Verstappen to win the championship. Maybe Verstappen could win it with the fastest lap. I don't know how the countback works between those two.
All clear the garage, please. Car's ready to leave.
But I imagine Verstappen probably would have the job done. But either way, there's plenty of permutations there. For us, we just need to do the best job we can in what is going to be a very difficult qualifying session. We have had no wet tyre running throughout the entirety of practice. So we are heading out in qualifying on these tyres, on the intermediates for the first time this weekend. And we can only hope that we keep it together, keep it on the track, and yeah, we can hopefully still do a good job. But as for crossover points for dry tyres and all of that kind of stuff, we have no guide at all whatsoever as we head into the race later on. But that is not the concern for the time being. Right now we need to focus on a qualifying lap, and the first lap I just tried to make sure we got around the track nice and cleanly, and that'll give us a bit of a guide as to how much more we need to push, as we got very close to the pit entry wall there. We cross the line though and do get a lap time in. It's not a particularly good one. In fact, we're down in P18 only ahead of Nicholas Latifi and Yuki Tsunoda, who has been disqualified from the session. So usually the only way that can happen is that if they park in a dangerous location. So a very strange one there for Yuki Tsunoda, but we'll have a look maybe more at that after the session to see the exact reason. But we come through the final few corners on a second flying lap, and we were on the same tyres, by the way. We do improve, and that does get us through in third position, no less. So the pace very much improving throughout the session. So some good signs then. We do have the pace to do a good job in this session, but we just got to make sure we're out on circuit as late as we can. But yeah, Yuki Tsunoda knocked out, along with Nicholas Latifi, Alex Albon, Zhou Guanyu, and Lance Stroll. Sebastian Vettel just sneaking in out of the two Aston Martins there. But yeah, Yuki Tsunoda parking in a dangerous location. I don't know how that could have happened. Must have been a mechanical failure, I suppose, for Yuki Tsunoda. So more misfortunes there for our teammates. We move on then into Q2, and yeah, we'll see if we can put a good lap together in this session, and continue on from where we left off in Q1. Not a great first sector though, we're all over the place there. So as we're getting more comfortable, we're starting to try and push a little bit harder, and ultimately I think that's helping us go slower in the long run. But anyway, we'll come around and finish our first flying lap in Q2, and we'll see what that does for us as we bring it round the final corner. And once again, we do a pretty average effort on our first flying lap, slowest so far. So yeah, we're going to need to do better than that if we want to get into Q3. But I think we have the pace to do it. We just need to make sure we keep it together on this next flying lap. Once again, we've got two green sectors as we come through, so this should be good enough if we can get through the last few corners nice and cleanly. A little bit wayward on the exit as we put the power down towards the line. Big slide and a spin into the wall, and that is the end of the session. We go 11th fastest with that lap, so we still improve. But that is our qualifying done, regardless of whether we got through or not. We would not have been able to put any laps in Q3 with the damage. So we are done in qualifying, knocked out in Q2 in 11th position. Goodness me. Dramatic way to end here. Valtteri Bottas, a pretty poor qualifying actually. We've seen some good speed out of the Sauber on occasion. But anyway, Sebastian Vettel knocked out, as well as Kevin Magnussen and Mick Schumacher. So, yeah, my goodness. The Alpines and McLarens get through, along with the big three, of course. But, yeah, with all of that said, let's move on into the race and hope we can do a better job.
We come to you live today from the Mie Prefecture in the south of Japan's Honshu Island for a race that has seen many title deciders over the years. Some simple, some controversial, but all contributing to a legacy that makes the Japanese Grand Prix an indispensable stop in any Formula One season. We're southwest of the city of Nagoya today at a wet and windy Suzuka circuit. 3.6 miles and 18 corners make up a lap here, with Sector 1 likely to prove especially difficult in these conditions. We should see overtaking into turns 1 and 16 today, and maybe a few Kobayashi-style dives into the hairpin as well. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position. And starting next to them is George Russell. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Perez, Verstappen, Carlos Sainz and Leclerc. The scientist, Vettel, Norris and Mick Schumacher. Bottas, Joe, Alex Albon and Fernando Alonso. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Magnussen, Tsunoda, Esteban Ocon and Daniel Ricciardo. They've taken a grid penalty. Stroll and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. Well, it's not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today, although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth. Anthony Davidson could be a wet one today. Great to have you with us. What are your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? Well, as a driver, there are 3 big things to worry about when racing in these kind of conditions: standing water, tyre temperature and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
Okay, this is our engine supplier's home Grand Prix, so let's give them a race worth watching.
Alrighty, thank you, Mark. Alright, we've got the wet tyres set up for this one, so a very wet start to the race. Both McLarens taking grid penalties, which gives us the upper hand so far in this one before we've even left the starting line. Both Alpines also taking grid penalties along with Kevin Magnussen, Lance Stroll and Nicholas Latifi. So plenty of grid penalties late on in the season as we go to the 5 red lights. It's lights out and away we go for the Japanese Grand Prix. And it's an alright start for us as we head towards turn 1. We're going to try and find some space on the outside as we get bumped off the road by Charles Leclerc. And that sends us almost out into the wall. We get away from it, but that was very close to ending our race at turn 1. My goodness, it sends us tumbling down the order. And Charles Leclerc, he did not see us on the outside. And yeah, just moved straight across, did not leave us any room to work with, and just bumped us off onto the grass. There's the onboard. My goodness, that's a heart-in-mouth moment just seconds into the race. Here it is from off-board again, and you can see Leclerc coming across. We were so lucky to avoid the wall on the left-hand side, not once but twice. But that has ruined our qualifying efforts. The benefits we had from the grid penalties and the McLarens and all the others.
Okay, so heavy rainfall here to stay for a while. Doesn't look like it's moving on anytime soon. It's hard to say if inters or wets are better right now. No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving.
Thankfully we don't have any damage to the car, so we can push on unhindered. And it's actually already time for the intermediates, or at least the intermediates will work in these conditions.
Our gap to the current front is 8.6 seconds.
But it doesn't really matter because I was really struggling for pace in these early stages in the full wet conditions. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the tyres not working properly, if I didn't get them up to temperature well enough, or if they're overheating. It could be anything. But either way, I really struggled in the early stages of this race and fell quite away from the field. But
Confirmed, we'll receive you at the end of this lap.
we do eventually catch up again, and I decided let's dive into the pits and chuck the intermediate tyres on a little bit earlier than perhaps might be expected, and they should give us the undercut benefit to try and make some overtakes.
Perfect job from you and the crew there, mate. We're delighted with that.
But something has gone very, very wrong because we are on soft tyres. That is not what I wanted. How did this happen?
Okay, roger that. Soft tyres at the next pit stop.
Ah, I see.
Up to speed now. Let's get some heat into those tyres.
Well, that's unfortunate, isn't it? Now what? The rain's not going anywhere. I mean, we can see what the pace is like, but I don't think this is going to work. The plan was to go into intermediates because it's about time for those. Yeah, softs just are not going to work. Yeah, although, I will say, they're not actually feeling that bad. I'm not suggesting they're going to be as quick as intermediates, but they're okay. So, I mean, they're moving enough water, so we're not aquaplaning. So, as Daniel Ricciardo retires from the race, so that's one McLaren down in this one.
Right, drop your speed. Our delta's too low, and we're going to risk a penalty. Slow your pace immediately.
And the safety car is out for Daniel Ricciardo as he retires with a mechanical failure. So that's a shame for Danny Rick. Good for us, though, I suppose. Ricciardo was already taking an engine penalty heading into this race and was starting down towards the back of the field. But anyway, as we come through the final corner, we were about to get lapped, so we've got no pace on these soft compound tyres, and we're struggling to stay ahead of George Russell, even under the safety car speed limit. But we are not getting allowed through by the safety car so far. We have to make our own arrangements, and we do eventually get past. But yeah, this is very interesting.
Here's some information on Vettel. They've got some kind of mechanical problem.
Because I need to push as hard as I reasonably
There's a
can.
new strategy available on the MFD.
As we're getting called into the pits for the intermediate tyres now. But the problem is, by the time we get around to the pit lane, I'm not convinced we have enough of a margin over the field to come out in front of them and remain on the lead lap. So I'm hoping they're not going to restart this time by. I don't think they will. And by the time we come around again, they are still behind the safety car, so now we should be well and truly clear of them. But yeah, I had to push on that extra lap just to make sure we stayed on the lead lap. But I do have a sneaking suspicion they'll restart this time by, and there won't be enough time for us to catch the train, but at least we'll be on the lead lap on the correct tyres.
That was a fantastic stop, faster than we were expecting.
Which is much better than our...
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross onto the track.
Much better than either of the alternatives there. So as we continue on around to the Degners, we're over a minute away from the race lead, but they're going to get going again as they get racing. We are pretty much already up to speed, and yeah, we have a lot of work to do if we want to catch up to the field now, but another safety car will get us right back in the game. So by the time we get around to the start line once again, we do close up a little bit more, down to about 40 seconds. So yeah, we're safe from being lapped in this race, I think, as oh, there's an issue there for Yuki Tsunoda, who's spun at the exit of the Casio Triangle, and that has caused a little bit of kerfuffle behind. Tsunoda gets going again, drops a couple of spots in the process. Let's take a look at this. Oh, bit of a slide there, and then lost it in the other direction through the left-hander. So just driver error there from Yuki Tsunoda, and a little bit too much horsepower getting put down there. spun up the rear wheels and looped it at the exit of the Casio Triangle. So that's a shame for Yuki Tsunoda. He was having a steady race so far. Here's the onboard of the incident with Lance Stroll. He got on the anchors nice and quick there to avoid any contact in that incident. Here's the onboard with Kevin Magnussen, next car in the queue, and looks like he was able to get it stopped as well as he navigates his way past the spun Yuki Tsunoda. And then the only other driver behind Latifi, he crunches into the back of Kevin Magnussen. So that leaves the front wing on the track for the Williams driver. And yeah, just a clumsy one there. Latifi not quite as quick to react on the brakes as the other two, and rips off the front wing of the Williams car. He comes into the pits to get that changed. So big shame for Latifi, but he'll get that front wing changed and get back into the race. But he was already running down in last, and this only makes the race more difficult for the Williams driver. He gets going again though, and we'll push on, I'm sure.
Safety car's out. We need you to reduce your pace.
And another safety car is out, and that is for the debris from that previous incident, and that will give us the opportunity to catch up to the field once again. But I've got myself a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. Unfortunately, I didn't have the game recording at the time, so I don't have the moment that happened.
Safety car in this lap. Safety car in this lap. Let's make sure those tyres are up to temperature, and remember, there's no overtaking until the timing line. Stay in position until the green flags.
But just when the comeback was about to begin in this race, we've gone and shot ourselves in the foot once again. This race has just been a disaster class. Anything that can go wrong has gone wrong. Both drivers have had issues. It's just a nightmare. Goodness me. Into the pits we go, and yeah, we'll get this penalty out of the way nice and quick. But yeah, what a disaster. Tsunoda disqualified in Q1. We crash in Q2. We get taken out towards the first corner. We put the wrong tyres on, for goodness sake. Tsunoda spins, and we got ourselves...
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross onto the track.
We get ourselves a penalty for speeding under the safety car. That is the textbook definition of a disaster class. All that's missing is a mechanical failure, but let's not jinx it. We can at least get the cars across the line. I mean, that's got to be worth something at this point. But yeah, just it's been a nightmare. I don't know what to say. Anyway, as we continue on, we've obviously got a huge void to the cars ahead to catch up. So we really do have to push hard from now to the end of the race.
Okay, you're doing well out there. Keep it up. We're looking at about 10 more minutes of rain. 10 minutes.
Maybe it'll dry up.
It's Latifi ahead of you. Our gap to the car in front is 10.5 seconds. They're on a fresh set of inters. Their tyres are 13 laps old. Your last lap time was a 1:47.5. You're gaining by 2 seconds a lap. Amazing.
We all of a sudden, though, get a burst of speed, and after only a few laps, we slash the margin to Nicholas Latifi. So as we continue to race on, we do eventually catch up to Nicholas Latifi.
The tyre situation's an interesting one, but I think the right call is to stick with what we've got for now.
We go for a big old sand down the inside to get the move done there. And we've got 11 laps to go in this race. Is there a chance we could still snag a point? It's not going to be easy. Big dive down the inside of Lance Stroll. We get the job done on the Canadian, and that moves us up another position into
Good job, nice overtake.
into 17th. Yuki Tsunoda is up next, as we just saw a little defensive waft from Lance Stroll. We're going to go for the move down the inside. It's a 130R on Yuki Tsunoda, wheel to wheel. Tsunoda backs out of it, and I think he gets the message. We've got better pace at the moment. Down the inside we go, and 2 moves in 2 corners as we also get past
Great manoeuvre, you made it look so easy.
Kevin Magnussen. and it's so hard to make overtakes in these conditions. The chicane and 130 are really the only places I can effectively make overtakes and follow close enough, in the run up to those corners.
No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving.
As we get past Albon through 130R as well. There was actually a little bit of slight contact as we made the move down the inside of Albon. We were quite aggressive with that overtake, I'll admit, but nothing too bad. No damage for Albon, thankfully for him. As we now catch up to Zhou Guanyu, we'll make the move down the inside, but I think that might be the extent of our charge through the field. There's a huge gap to the cars in front from here, so I don't know if we're going to be able to do much more. And in fact, I decided to give it up and come into the pits because it is actually time for the dry compound tyres. Not that we're going to make up these positions again. I am expecting we'll be finishing last after this pit stop, but what we can do is make sure Norris does not get the fastest lap of the race. Even that eventuality is unlikely on its own, but we can just make sure we cover that off, because in terms of our team's championship battle with McLaren,
and that's 11 laps of fuel remaining.
Wow, we are massively overfueled in this race. In terms of our team's championship battle with McLaren, that is all we can do. I'm out of the points, Tsunoda's out of the points, Ricciardo's out of the race, so all we can do in terms of helping our chances there is making sure McLaren do not come away with the fastest lap by taking it ourselves. So here we go then, around the final few corners on our first flyer on the softs, and we go 3 purples.
Okay, this is your final lap of the race.
And get the job done despite a few mistakes. But out in front, this man has not won a race yet this season, but that changes today. Lewis Hamilton wins the Japanese Grand Prix, and that will be very, very sweet for the British driver. Second place for Max Verstappen. He misses out on taking the championship today by 5 points. And in third comes Sergio Perez, who stays in the championship fight, albeit only just. Meanwhile, further back in the order, myself chasing down Nicholas Latifi through the final few corners. We just don't have enough to get the job done on the Canadian. A big spin through the final corner, and we'll manage to crawl across the line for P19.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
And for the second race in a row, we spin at the final corner. Let's just write this one off. Ocon, driver of the day.
They've done it then, here at Suzuka. A brilliant win on the beloved figure-of-8 circuit. What do you think it was today, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners.
It's been a long time coming. Lewis Hamilton takes his first race victory of the season. Second place for Max Verstappen, and Sergio Perez makes it a double podium for Red Bull and stays in the championship fight.
So let's review the updated driver standings. Max Verstappen should be pleased with his performance, making gains at the top of the table. Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Let's give it to Esteban Ocon. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. And pulling further ahead in the standings, it's Red Bull. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
What can you say after a race like that? Textbook Disasterclass. Yuki Tsunoda disqualified from Q1. We crash out in Q2. Then our race almost ends before it begins on the run towards the first corner. We almost find the wall twice in the process. Then we end up on slick tyres in the wet. Then Yuki Tsunoda has a spin. Then we end up speeding under safety car. Then we have a spin. Textbook disaster class. I just ended my voice recording slamming my mouse then. So that just happened. Anyway, let's have a little run through the race finishing order. It was Lewis Hamilton ahead of Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, Charles Leclerc, George Russell, Carlos Sainz. Lando Norris P7 means 6 points for McLaren. P8 for Valtteri Bottas, decent for the Alfa Romeo team there. P9 for Sebastian Vettel, and then rounding out the top 10, Esteban Ocon. Great drive by Bottas, Vettel and Ocon, to be fair. P17 Ocon started, and of course Aston Martin have had their struggles this season, so any points are good for them. But anyway, in terms of the Drivers' Championship, Max Verstappen leads Perez by 99 points, and it's a further 5 points back to Carlos Sainz, who is 104 adrift. So technically Sainz could still win the championship, but he would need every race win and fastest lap for the rest of the season, and hope Verstappen does not score another point. Sergio Perez, his situation is not much different, let's be honest. But he could do it without the fastest laps. But he will need to win every race between now and the end of the season to have a chance, realistically. And again, that's only if Verstappen doesn't score ever again. We drop behind Charles Leclerc, of course, after that race, and are now 12 points behind the Ferrari driver. Still 21 points ahead of George Russell, so if we can maintain that, that will be a very, very happy camper. In terms of our Drivers' Championship, achievements this season. In terms of the Team's Championship, Red Bull have things all wrapped up at the top end of town. So further down the order, we are now just 6 points ahead of McLaren. So yeah, we've worked all season to try and gather as many points as possible. We had a 12-point margin, and that's been slashed in half in this race. We are really just blow for blow between the two of us. No one can pull any kind of margin over the other. It's going to go down to the wire. And with the US Grand Prix coming up next, a race where I haven't gone particularly well in the past, it's going to be tricky. But anyway, hopefully some more upgrades on the car
How do you want us to deal with this one?
can make things a little easier. We have a durability department event, so let's see what this is all about. Alrighty then, so the durability department have freed up some extra resources that they think could be best used to reduce gearbox wear. We can agree with them, and that will give us a 10% discount to the control electronics reliability testing upgrade, inexplicably, or we can disagree, and that'll give us 500 resource points. The thing is, either way, you actually get better value by disagreeing. Even if you wanted this specific upgrade, you're still better off disagreeing, because you're not going to save 500 resource points with a 10% discount on anything, because the upgrade would have to be 5,000 resource points for 10% to be worth more than 500. So no upgrade is that expensive, and therefore there is never going to be a reason to actually agree to this. Anyway,
Thanks. I appreciate you taking the time to help out.
with our newfound resource points, we're going to head over to the power unit department, because that is, I think, the weakest part of our car at the moment, and we're going to go with fuel efficiency, and we'll see if we can get on the car in time for the Mexican Grand Prix. And yeah, as you can see, we're really trying to rush some upgrades in and get as much advantage we can out of them late on in the season. But anyway, we successfully get a DRS upgrade on the car, which would be nice at Circuit of the Americas.
Expecting some new developments to come through, but some of them have failed quality control. We'll need to tell the team what to redevelop via the R&D screen.
Unfortunately, our drag reduction upgrade, not to be confused with the drag reduction system upgrade, did not see the same success, and the wheel rim covers that we got will have to wait another round, and they'll be on the car in time for the Mexican Grand Prix. Bit annoying, but regardless, we carry on. Oh my goodness. The misfortunes continue as our status upgrade that we purchased at the start of the episode also fail, and we won't have enough to repurchase those. and even if we could, they wouldn't be in time for Mexico anyway. So we'll grab those after practice in Mexico, after practice in the US, and they'll still be on in time for Brazil. But that, I think, is just about going to do it for this one. So yeah, it's getting spicy in the championship. I think there's a very high likelihood Verstappen will wrap it up next time out at the Circuit of the Americas, but you never know. Anything can happen, and Sergio Perez has pulled out a few good drives this season, and Carlos Sainz certainly has in the recent past, so you never know. It's not over till it's over, but things are looking very good for the Red Bull driver, and especially for the Red Bull team. But anyway, what else is there to say? Our battle with McLaren is, you know, I thought, to be honest, that we had enough of an advantage after our great race in Singapore that, you know, we might just have that covered over McLaren, but 6 points, it's not much. But anyway, like I was saying, that's going to do it for this one. So yeah, I will say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Please feel free to give me some feedback in the comments. It is always very helpful. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye.